The air was thick with the scent of antiseptics, metal, and the faint hum of alien machinery. Dr. Elias Carter wiped the sweat from his brow as he studied the form before him. She lay motionless, her breathing ragged, her silver-hued skin dulled and cracked from dehydration. The princess, if the reports were to be believed, was dying. Elias had seen many patients on the outer colonies, but never had he treated an extraterrestrial of such importance. The Xyronians were a proud, secretive race, their biology largely undocumented. Yet here she was, the last of her royal lineage, fading on his examination table. His medical team had been at a loss. The Xyronian body rejected most human medicines, and the advanced technology she had arrived with was encrypted beyond their comprehension. Her body temperature was dropping. Whatever affliction gripped her, it was winning. Elias exhaled sharply. He couldn't let her die. With careful hands, he adjusted the scanner and began his analysis. Her internal structure was vastly different from a human's: denser musculature, dual circulatory systems, and what appeared to be an energy-based neural network. If he was to save her, he would need more than human medicine. He would need to understand the very essence of her being. As he worked tirelessly, the princess stirred, her luminous violet eyes fluttering open. Weakly, she studied him, her gaze piercing yet vulnerable. "You are not one of us," she rasped. Elias hesitated. "No. I'm human. A doctor." Her fingers twitched, barely lifting off the examination table. "Then you cannot help me. I don't accept that." Elias leaned in, determination hardening his features. "I've saved people on the brink of death before. I'll do the same for you." Her lips curled slightly, a ghost of amusement flickering in her expression. "You're kind, always so stubborn. That's how we survive." The princess closed her eyes, a shuddering breath escaping her lips. Elias knew he was running out of time. If human medicine wouldn't work, he needed another approach. He pulled up her biometrics, studying the fluctuations in her energy readings. It was as if her body was missing something fundamental. Some kind of energy source? A catalyst? He turned to his assistant, Dr. Lin, who had been monitoring the vitals. "We need a controlled energy infusion. Low frequency. Something to stabilize her neural pathways." Lin hesitated. "That's risky. If we miscalculate, she's already dying." Elias met her gaze. "We don't have the luxury of caution." Lin nodded, setting the parameters as Elias placed his hands over the princess's chest, feeling the faint thrum of life beneath his fingertips. He activated the infusion, watching as soft waves of energy coursed through her body. At first, nothing happened. Then, her body arched, a surge of light crackling across her skin. The reading spiked erratically, her breathing accelerating before settling into a steady rhythm. Slowly, the color returned to her features. Her eyes snapped open, and this time, there was clarity in them. "You saved me." Elias released a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. "For now. But I need to understand more about your biology if I'm going to keep you alive." She studied him for a long moment before speaking. "I am Lyara, heir to the Xyronian throne." Elias inclined his head. "Dr. Elias Carter. And as of now, I'm your doctor." A small smile ghosted across her lips. "Then I suppose I am in your debt." Little did Elias know, saving her life would entangle him in a conflict that stretched across the stars. For Lyara was more than a princess, she was the key to a rebellion that had been waiting for the right moment to rise. And in healing her, he had unwittingly chosen a side in a war that would determine the fate of both their worlds. Elias barely had time to process the weight of Lyara's words before the facility's alarm blared to life. Red emergency lights pulsed, bathing the medical bay in a harsh glow. Lin's eyes widened as she checked the security feed. "We've got incoming," she whispered, dread lacing her voice. Elias turned to the screen. A group of armored figures moved through the corridors with terrifying efficiency. They weren't human military, too sleek, too advanced. Xyronian. Lyara struggled to sit up, her body still weak from the treatment. "They've found me," she murmured, gripping the edge of the table. "Friends of yours?" Elias asked, already guessing the answer. She shook her head. "Loyalists to the Supreme Chancellor. If they take me, I won't live to see another day." Elias had spent his life saving people, not getting caught up in interstellar politics. But looking at Lyara, seeing the defiance in her violet eyes despite her weakness, he knew he couldn't turn his back on her now. Lynn reached for a concealed weapon in the supply cabinet. "Doctor, if we're doing this, we need to move. Now." Lyara swung her legs off the table, nearly collapsing before Elias caught her. He draped her arm over his shoulder, supporting her weight as they moved toward the emergency exit. The facility's walls trembled as the approaching soldiers breached the outer doors. "Where do we go?" Elias asked, tightening his grip on Lyara as they moved through a dimly lit maintenance tunnel. She clenched her jaw. "There's a safe house in the city. I have allies." Lynn covered their retreat, sealing the door behind them as the sound of boots echoed in pursuit. "Then let's move." The trio emerged into the night air of New Horizon, a sprawling human colony nestled within the distant reaches of space. Hovercrafts whizzed above them, neon lights flickering against the smog-choked sky. They blended into the crowd, weaving through the market district. Behind them, the facility erupted in a burst of fire and shrapnel. Elias turned, his pulse hammering. "They really want you dead." Lyara steadied herself, her strength slowly returning. "I'm the last true heir. As long as I live, the resistance has hope." A shadow flickered past them, and suddenly, a figure stepped into their path. A Xyronian male, clad in black tactical armor, his silver skin marred with battle scars. His gaze locked onto Lyara. "Princess," he said, voice cold. "You should not have survived." Elias tensed, but before he could react, Lyara straightened, her voice commanding. "And yet, here I stand." A slow smile spread across the assassin's face. "Not for long." He lunged. But Lyara was faster. Despite her weakened state, she pivoted, dodging his strike and delivering a precise counterblow to his ribs. The assassin staggered, but before he could recover, Lynn fired her weapon, sending him sprawling. The crowd erupted in chaos, people scattering as security forces closed in. Elias grabbed Lyara's hand, pulling her away. "No time to celebrate, let's go." They disappeared into the maze of alleys, their pursuers right behind them. Lyara gritted her teeth. She had spent too long in exile, too long running. But no more. She had been given a second chance, and she would not waste it. The war for her throne had begun.